when I'm out hunting something that I've been chasing, especially when I have history with it or something, even just a shot of a bow seems like it takes a lifetime to let that arrow fly. I mean, it was the same thing with watching these birds fall out of the sky or even landing them first and dropping it there. Tyler and I talked about that a lot moving into day 2, was making that shot and watching the bird that you were watching fall. It was like it was all slow motion. So even though we were only there for 20 minutes, I mean, I can only imagine between the 7 of us how many of those birds that we shot at, we were looking and we watched fall, and how slow motion that was for all of us. I mean,
oh, you got her, dude. She's down.
Let's go.
Dude, I just shot a deer of a lifetime.
Freaking smoked him.
One with nature, and if you're a believer, one with God.
Definitely gets your heart pumping. Boy, you are in trouble.
Fall Obsession Podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another Fall Obsession Podcast episode. We are driven by Ridge Rock Hunt Company. I will talk more about them at the end. I am Sam. I'm your host for this week's episode. Thanks for tuning in. I'm on here with another stellar crew. I've been super pumped these past several weeks of our podcast with the lineups that we've had. It's been awesome. A lot of faces from the Midwest in particular, but for 4 or 5 episodes now, we just got some solid lineups. So this one, no exception. Regular on the podcast at this point. Todd's back with us. What's up, Todd?
Hey, how are you?
Woohoo! We
back home this time.
Yeah, you are. Yeah,
Oh,
last week we had Todd out there in Minnesota with
that world tour has brought me back home, and then we're back on the road in a couple days. So.
Yeah, just making the rounds. Todd recorded with Andy and Drew in person in Minnesota last week, so that's episode 142. Go take a listen to that if you haven't before. On that note, the man, the myth, the legend, Andrew Meeks is back with us again as well. So welcome back to the podcast, man. Always a blast having you on here.
Woohoo!
And we got
to see you guys. Missed the hell out of you, Todd. I haven't seen you for a week, so I mean,
hey, that's long enough. That's long enough.
Only a week.
And getting through our lineup here today, we got a newcomer on our podcast as well. One of our newer staff members here at Fall Obsession, Kessler Fisher. Welcome to the podcast, buddy.
The rookie.
Welcome.
So, guys, we are back here to talk once again about the Texas Sandhill Crane hunt that you 3 were all a part of. We've already recorded part 1 and published part 1 of that little podcast series that we're doing. Todd and I sat down with Tyler and Delaney, who were also out there, and recorded with them. But this week, we obviously want to get the rest of the crew on here and talk to you guys and get your takes on everything. I think a great icebreaker for our conversation also is starting with you, Andy, because I went back and listened to part 1 today to just kind of refresh some stuff on my mind before we dove in to record this. And one thing that Todd had mentioned, I believe it was Todd, was that you were kind of the instigator for wanting to go on a snow goose hunt. It was a bucket list hunt. It was a bucket list hunt is what Todd says.
You are usually the instigator.
No. That's okay. I'm the antagonist. That's why I've been. No, this was been just in the back of my mind all the time. Yeah, up here in Minnesota, we can only shoot one Sandhill Crane a year, and I mean it's and everybody, you talk to everybody and you go, how was it? It was delicious. I mean, do you have any I can try? Absolutely not. That's how it goes. I've asked so many people about that, and and I said, screw it. I want to go down there and I want to shoot Sandhill Cranes because they're beautiful birds. I mean, amazing birds. I mean, these birds were almost extinct at one time. I mean, with the, you got to give to them. They made an incredible comeback, and I have to eat one. That was my goal. I had to eat one, and then I threw it. Well, I threw it in Todd's ear, and then Todd just runs with it. I just, I could tell him anything, and we'll have a hunt that next day.
Yeah. Hey, Todd, I want to go to Alaska on a moose hunt. All right, I got it set up for next week.
I guarantee he'll have information on my doorstep 6 a.m.
So I need to start sending all my ideas to you then, Andy, so you can forward it on.
Well, if you want,
if he listens to you.
Andy's the salesman. Andy knows how to sell it. Yeah.
Todd gets the stuff done. So, No, this is like I said. Call it a bucket list. Call it a hunt that it's always in. I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to experience these birds. I mean, we've learned about them. We're educated about them, but to eat them and to hunt them, and they're amazing. They're beautiful creatures. I mean, absolutely beautiful creatures. And someone might say that how can you shoot these beautiful creatures? And I said, well, it's just my way of harvesting. Putting my quota in for the year and stuff like that. Plus, they're amazing to eat.
Yeah,
amazing to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I believe we had a conversation with Mike, right, Teppy? And
Yeah.
you guys bring any crane down with you guys? I go, I don't have any crane.
Absolutely not.
That's right. We had that meeting last week. Yeah.
I got no crane.
Yep, exactly.
I do.
Like, no crane.
No.
Sorry.
No, I don't have any.
Yeah. No, it was kinda-
Tyler said he'd bring some down for him though. So.
Good.
Oh, man.
Well, yeah, because he didn't mount a bird, so he had an extra two. But no, this was, amazing hunt. Actually, the first morning went way too fast. 20 minutes, we're done. I mean, I've shot mallards, shot my mallard limit in about half hour, but never like this. It was incredible. I mean, if you're a hunter and you enjoy the outdoors and you like bird hunting or deer hunting, either way, you have to experience this. I mean, this is remarkable what we saw. Okay. I mean, just absolutely remarkable. So, and plus we got to eat them and they're tasty as all heck. So,
yeah, absolutely. So I asked this question in part one to Tyler, and I'll ask you, Andy, because you're a pretty avid waterfowler. You get out there and do it quite religiously. With this being a bucket list hunt for you, something you've always thought about doing, and then with your background hunting other birds, what were the expectations versus reality kind of coming into this, having experience, with other waterfowl?
Well, actually, that's a very good question, Sam. You've always heard about these birds being so wary. They can see their eyesight is absolutely incredible. I mean, it's better than a duck or goose or any waterfowl for that matter. And, it's always been a challenge. I've always heard or read it's a challenge to hunt these birds. I mean, you really have to put the time in and grind. And for us to do it 20 minutes, I'm like, what is going on? I must have been, blowing smoke out my, whatever. Right?
I must have missed something. Yeah.
But Jake, the guide, he did say this was once in a lifetime thing that you just saw. I mean, we landed over 75 birds at one time, and we rained out 9 of them in one volley. So are they smart? Are they dumb? Are they worried? I kind of picture them somewhere between a snow goose and a Canadian, because they did snow geese kind of stuff in the sky, how they circled and stuff like that. But they also came in hook, line, and sinker. I mean, on a line, just boom, right there. So like Canadians do. So my expectations were it was going to be a tough hunt. The reality was like, I haven't done this for like 10 years.
But that goes to every single species that you hunt, though. If you're not walking into it with the mindset that, hey, I have to be smarter than this animal, no matter how you're set up, then you're not going to be successful. Yeah. So even if we put all the time that we did into the preparation for that hunt, just so that we weren't seen from overhead if they decided to come from behind us, depending on how the wind was blowing. I mean, it's stuff like that if you're not cautious about it, you're not going to be successful in your hunt, period.
I completely agree with you. But, the guides on there, the hide was great. I mean, we couldn't have had a more perfect hide. I mean, that thing, it lights out. I mean.
Without a doubt. I think Jake's biggest concern that morning was the cameras.
Yeah.
At some point in there, we tried to set up a camera right out in front where he was actually setting the decoys, and he was like, yeah, you're not going to want to do that because we're actually going to be landing these birds right there, so you will shoot your camera.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, where do we need to set it up at? He was like, well, you're going to have to hide it somewhere because if they come overhead, it's got to be
they'll see them,
something around it. It's got to be hidden. If they see a tripod sitting in a field, most likely you're not going to get to land a whole lot of birds. And then we had 75 landed.
Right, and that goes for every waterfall. I mean, and if you have honkers, if you go hunt for honkers, you and snow is for sure. I mean, you got 1,000 eyes, 2,000 eyes looking at you at one time. Sometimes, and that's what I expected from this crane hunt is that these beautiful birds have great eyesight. This is going to be a challenge, and I wanted the challenge, but I mean, it was great. Don't get me wrong, but no, I was, not disappointed, but I had a great time. But
it was surprising. Yeah,
it was very surprising,
without a doubt.
But just the same with the same as always. If you're getting birds on the migration, okay, and they're all clumped together and they're feeding and they're doing their thing, they become I don't want to say dumb, but less smart, more feeding frenzy, I guess I want to say.
Less cautious.
They get
right. It's more my belly's empty. I gotta feed. Like that. So and birds kind of go through that. They have they'll pick their days to feed and not like that. But yeah, I mean, it was remarkable. I'm still stunned by it. That was incredible.
Yeah. Kess, I'm gonna throw it to you because you had a little bit. This was like your introductory into the Fall Obsession family almost. This is you and Andy both actually got to experience a staff hunt before becoming a member of the team and everything. Andy a few years ago, and then you with this one. So what are your thoughts coming into this trip, and how the opportunity come about for you?
I mean, honestly, you called it an introductory hunt, but there wasn't much of an introduction. I mean, as soon as I walked in the door and met these guys, it was like I've known them my whole life.
Yeah.
So, but it was Larry to me. I mean, I'm a kid from Indiana. I was packing up all my gear going on a hunt that's something I've never even thought about doing before. And I was driving to some random guy's house in Kansas to meet up with a bunch of random people I've never met before.
Jumping a random truck.
Yeah, exactly. At 10 o'clock at night, mind you. I'm just walking up to some random door in Kansas and knocking on it. Hey, what's up? But I mean, from the moment I met these guys that welcomed me in with open arms, we had a great time just sitting back, catching up, learning, who we were, what our history was with hunting, and what to expect with this hunt. It was a cool opportunity to say the least. But yeah, it was that night I headed up there. I think I beat. So I spoke with Delaney first. I hadn't met any of these guys, and I hadn't met Delaney either. But I showed up before her, so I actually got in to meet these guys prior to finding my comfort level with everybody. But Tyler welcomed us into his house, no problem. We all kind of sat around the dining room table and just talked for a little while. I mean, it was hours before we ever actually went to bed. We were so excited to actually go on the hunt.
Well, poor JJ was trying to sleep.
Sorry about that.
No, we went to bed right away. Boss man, we went to bed.
I don't care, man. I want y'all to have a good time.
I still don't know if I slept at all.
Hey, boss man, I don't know where you find these guys, but you do a hell of a job picking them out. So thank you.
Hey man, I do very little work. It's the community itself, and I know Todd does a lot of work with our staff programs and trying to get good people in here and everything. But it just happens. It's hard to explain, It just like Kess was talking about. It just all just falls together almost. So it's pretty fun.
It's like I don't want to say divine but I mean, yeah, it's meant to be, kind of thing, Yeah.
It just you just know when the fit happens. You know what I mean? It's just so comfortable. It's just so natural.
Yeah.
The minute I gave Todd a hug in the middle of the road, I mean, it's over. We're done. We're best friends for life.
Well, I think
we met each other at Tim's house. Oh, geez, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Oh,
well,
we had to be more PC around.
Man, I think it was the last part one that I was telling the group, Andy, that the first time I met you was in a ditch on the side of the road.
That's right.
Drew had told me we're going on a deer hunt in Texas, and Drew was coming down, and he had told me, he's like, hey, I'm going to bring my buddy. His name's Andy. I was like, okay, sounds good. And we're waiting on the guide to show up so we can unlock the gate. So we're just parked on the side of a county road in Texas in the ditch, and that's where I met Andy Meeks.
By the way, one of the best hunts ever. Top 2 by far. Top 2.
What's number 1?
I can't name number 1 because it's just unfair.
Every hunt that Andy's ever been on is top 2.
Exactly.
No. Where you live down there, Sam, I mean, if you get on a ranch like that, I mean, it's, amazing. I mean, I never hunted like that before. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And plus the zebra, I mean, really, a zebra.
Man, you've put a thought in my mind. We're gonna have to get a podcast with like you and Drew and Nick and myself or something, and recap that hunt. I know one of the very first podcasts that we ever did, it was like episode 2, I think, or something crazy way back. Nick and I recapped that hunt, but man, it's been long enough that we need to go back down memory lane on that one. But that's a conversation for another time. But
well, it's been 2 years, right? I mean, yeah, it's been 2 years.
It's been 3 over 3.
Don't say
2019.
Oh gosh, darn it.
Yeah.
Time flies.
2019 doesn't seem like that long ago, but it was apparently.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But so circling back to kind of our crane hunt here, I've heard you guys talking a lot about, I mean, part 1 and then today, about how delicious these things are and how you're not going to share because they're so freaking delicious.
Well,
rightfully so. But tell me, we'll go around, but tell me how are you cooking them? What's your go-to with these birds?
I cook them like a steak. Salt, pepper, 3 minutes on one side, 3 minutes on the other side. Let it rest for 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. Slice and dice, baby. And you, so I'll just say this. I know I'm gonna go on a limb on this, but I rather have this bird over a New York strip,
really,
a filet mignon,
yeah,
or a sirloin.
Yes, less fat, and it tastes just the same.
No kidding.
Yep.
I mean, trust me. When I eat a good steak, I want a ribeye or a porterhouse. I like the gristle. I like that. I like that good flavor. But I really
you don't need it. It's just got it's got that flavor. The flavor's already embedded in it.
It's already there. Yeah. I threw a little. So I did a little salt pepper. Then I also kind of just lightly coated with a prime rib, like a prime rib rub, just lightly salted it, and it's mind blowing. I'm serious. I can't. I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, it's better than those steaks. I'm telling you that. So,
wow.
Kess, have you ate yours yet or no?
Oh yeah. Well, I had a little bit. So I had a mishap a couple of weeks ago. I was actually sick, and it kind of destroyed me on this. But I was finally feeling better and kind of coming on the up and up. And I was like, man, I really want to have another breast out of this bird again. So I, thought it out. And the next day I got up and I was feeling really good. So I made it up for dinner. And later that night I ended up getting sick again and ended up.
No.
Yeah. So it was a waste of about half a breast. I was pretty upset with that one.
Well, if you don't want to eat the breast anymore, I'll take them.
Yeah, you split it up between us.
Hold on, I didn't say that. I am fully recovered now, and we have been eating all of it. So
yeah.
Now I still do have Delaney's in my freezer, though. If you want.
Ooh, don't tell her. Don't tell her.
Hey, Delaney, we're packing 2.
First come, first serve.
If you can beat her here for a spring turkey hunt, you can take all of it with you.
You betcha.
We'll go hunt turkeys, and then you can take her bird with you. So, but no, all jokes aside, I mean, I've been cooking it the same way these guys have. Cast iron skillet right now because my grill is down for the count. Throw some butter in there, 3 minutes on one side, 3 minutes on the other. I mean, it's just like eating a steak. If you didn't tell the person that you're sitting across from at the dinner table that it wasn't beef, they would not know that.
Yeah, nope.
I mean, and that's the craziest thing for me is it's a bird. It's a bird. It tastes that good,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Usually birds, you think of like the rotisserie chickens and all that, and a lot of the wild game kind of tastes like that rotisserie chicken. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But not this at all.
Well, they're not lying when they say ribeye of the sky.
Oh no
lie whatsoever. So a funny one actually for you. So I've got a lot of family of mine are big hunters, but older generations, they don't get out as much. And so when I was describing to them what we had done down in Texas, I was telling everybody about how they call it the ribeye of the sky. Well, somewhere in there, a grandparent of mine got it mixed up. And she ended up telling the whole family that we were hunting flying filet mignon.
You should have seen those suckers
It's
go.
better than flaming young.
It's the most incredible thing without wings. That's
Right,
suckers just
exactly.
take straight off.
It lives up to the standard, but it was a good funny that they got passed down throughout the family. So
Oh, 100%. Oh, that's good humor. I like that. But it's so crazy how these prehistoric looking birds, okay? And they, they just you take a honker breast and a snow goose breast, okay? And the crane kind of falls right between them. They're a little bit thinner than a goose breast.
Yeah.
But I mean, why does a honker breast taste the way it does and a snow goose breast taste the way it does? And then these crazy looking beautiful birds taste like that. I don't get it. It's remarkable, mind blowing. So
they all eat the same thing. So
they all eat the same thing. I've driven through Wisconsin going to Madison from Minneapolis, and I've driven across fields that were gray with sandhill cranes. I mean, you could see the ground because it was gray, and that's kind of what it sparked me. Like you see all these birds here and there, and just like but
that's pretty much how it was on day one, except for it was in the sky. I mean, even after we were done hunting, you could not see the blue in the sky. It was just all black and white from their belly side facing down. I mean,
I couldn't see the sun either.
It was incredible.
And the craziest thing, I think we talked about this in the last episode, was that when we finished in that 20 minutes, we were out picking stuff up, and we still had birds landing right by us.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
So,
They were all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
no, it's a great spot. You can definitely tell that is a migration spot. I mean, that's why they're there, and it's just like it's like going to Mound City, Missouri for snow goose hunting, because that's where they congregate, and that's just where the ease of hunting them is. So
yeah.
We actually had a couple weeks after I got back from Texas. I was up north at my parents' house visiting for the holidays and stuff. And we had maybe a dozen or 2 dozen of them that flew over top of the house. And you can hear them. They're very distinct. You know what they are. So it was like my parents were outside, and I pointed out to them. I was like, those are sandhill crane right there. And they were like, really? Like, why can't you shoot them here? And I was like, there's maybe 20 of them right there. Where I was, 20,000 minimum.
Yeah.
Probably more than that.
I mean, you underestimated that one, Kess.
Yeah, way more than that.
Wow.
We get them around here in Michigan during the summertime. We get them around here a lot, but we can't hunt them. So
no, we have a small corner in northwestern Minnesota that you can hunt them, and they're obviously making the comeback. And I have a mating pair close to me, just kind of in a marshy area where they like to be and stuff like that. But no, it's great to see them come back like this. But to comment on Kess's thing, when they fly over my house, they're about a mile high, and all you hear is and you gotta look up and like take the binoculars to them because they're up there way far. So
they're up there, and I think you guys actually talked about that in the first part of this podcast with those, is whether you could hear or see them first. I mean, Texas, as flat as it is, I mean, you can see miles and miles. You could see those birds coming for well over the time that you can imagine sitting in a blind, watching them come in, and then you hear them all too once they come from all different directions. I mean, it was absolutely insane.
Wow. And he was spot on, Jake, our first day. Remember, we got everything set up and we're just kind of hanging out outside the blinds, and somebody asked him, well, when should we start hearing them? He said, well, in about 5 minutes, 7:15.
No, I mean, wait,
4 minutes and 38 seconds.
Yeah.
No,
Spot on.
he nailed the time.
Wow.
Without a doubt. It was
cool. Because he even said, well, we should probably get in our blinds because they should be here any minute. And sure enough, 7:15, here they came.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, awesome people down there. I mean, fantastic.
Yeah, that was one thing I was gonna ask, and y'all have kind of already hit on it a little bit. Just the feeling that first morning, like you guys have never hunted these birds before. You're getting in the blinds, it's getting light, and then all of this starts happening. Like, where is everybody's heads at as this incredible event is unfolding before your eyes?
Well, when we first got out there, I was completely jacked up because We had finally got to the lodge after driving the 10 hours and stayed up pretty late that night, just hanging out and enjoying each other's company. And so when we get up at, what was it, 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning?
Well, I might have got up at 5, but you guys got.
Oh, that's right. But you didn't feel it at all. I mean, I didn't feel tired at all, and so it was just the anticipation of everything. And
the adrenaline was pumping way too hard, and you know, you're hunting a bird you never hunted before, and it's always exciting. It's always exciting to hunt something you've never hunted before. You know, just it's the chase, it's the adventure, and you know, like the Todd said, I mean, we're there 20 minutes, and I'm like, we're done.
Wait, what?
But,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and usually when you get up that early, you want to go right to bed, you know. So, and
Right.
in fact, my last day in Minnesota, maybe I got 15 minutes of sleep before we went to the airport.
Man, it's just it's so funny just with hunting in general. It's like you're like a kid on Christmas because it's just it doesn't matter what you're hunting, or it's even more so when you're going on a trip that you've been dreaming of or that you've been really looking forward to. But even like I think of even here in Texas, you know, we hunt whitetails every single year, and that night before opening morning of bow season, you're laying in bed wide awake, just like, oh my gosh, is it time to get up yet? Is it time to go yet?
That's how we were looking at the blinds that first morning. We were like, man, these look really comfortable. We could probably take a nap in these. But once we got in and the birds started flying, it was like napping is not an option.
No way.
And we're done.
Yeah.
Yes, we didn't have enough time there.
No, not at all. Well, that's one thing I want to touch on too. I mean, we keep talking about how fast this hunt occurred and ended. Like 20 minutes is all we were there. But when I reflect back on it, I mean, that 20 minutes seemed so long to me, because it's like, I don't know what your guys' experience is, but when I'm out hunting something that I've been chasing, especially when I have history with it or something, even just a shot of a bow seems like it takes a lifetime to let that arrow fly. I mean, it was the same thing with watching these birds fall out of the sky, or even landing them first and dropping it there. Tyler and I talked about that a lot moving into day 2, was making that shot and watching the bird that you were watching fall. It was like it was all slow motion. So even though we were only there for 20 minutes, I mean, I can only imagine between the 7 of us how many of those birds that we shot at, we were looking and we watched fall, and how slow motion that was for all of us. I mean, all the footage we grabbed just can't capture those memories that we're going to hold on to forever.
100%, I agree with you.
I mean, it was just a surreal experience, to say the least.
Yep, agreed.
Like that big buck that you see across the field, and it took him 3 hours to get across just to get close enough so you could take a look at it, and in reality it was 4 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, yeah,
I know
exactly.
the exact feeling. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are some, and we may have already hit on them, and the last group may have already hit on, whatever the case might be, but I wanted to ask at least you two, Kess and Andy, kind of what your favorite moments were from this trip. Like, give us a big takeaway moment, and then give us a funny moment.
The biggest,
quite a few funny moments. So that's hard to touch on.
Kess, you lead. I'll let you lead on this one.
You want me to lead? Okay, so funny moments. I guess I got 2. So one, just being around the crew in general. I mean, the amount of time we got to spend together, especially on day 1, because we were only hunting for the 20 minutes, was it was amazing to just hang out with the guys, get to know them, you know, talk about our past experiences with hunts and share stories and all kinds of stuff, playing cornhole, being goofy, we went over to the neighbors. I mean, there's just all kinds of good times that were wrapped up in that hunting camp experience right there. But as for the hunt itself, probably my funniest moment was on day 1 after the first volley came in. So we actually had 2 cameras going that day. And long story short, the second camera did not get turned on before we started our hunt, which was actually Andy's GoPro that we had running from an angled on the front side.
So it's Andy's fault.
Well, actually, the guide went out to turn it on for us, and Delaney was kind of coaching him through it. And he was like, "Which button do I hit?" And she was like, "Just that top one. You hit
just
it.
Hit one. Just hit them all.
And it's good." And he was like, "Okay, it's on." And he ran back to the blind, and we got settled in. Well, later on that morning, we found out it never got turned on. So we missed everything coming from the front angled side.
Oh.
But that morning, after the first volley came through, we actually had a bird from the right side that was injured that flew over to the left. And I was set up second from the left, and the guide was to my far left. And he watched his bird fly, and he saw me kind of looking at it, and he was like, "Hey, man, did you see that bird?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got it, but I just lost it." And he was like, "You got to go get that." Like,
Yeah, we made the FNG go get it.
Yeah, I'm out of the dog. I'm confused. Where's the retrieval dog? He was like, "Yeah, you need to go get that before the next volley comes through." I'm like, "Man, I don't even see where it went." And he was like, "Yeah, you got to go grab it." He was like, "It's out there by that light about 50 yards past that." So here I am. I pick up my shotgun and I just go barreling through this field.
It was awesome.
Talking about losing all of my adrenaline in that little sprint. I ended up running like 300 yards out into this field looking for this bird. Found it, retrieved it, brought it back. And no sooner than I got back into my blind and laid down, here come the second volley over. And he was like, "All right, boys, get him." Like,
I just got back. I'm out of breath, man.
can't breathe.
Out of breath.
But we didn't catch any of that on video, but the conversation that was going on between me and Jake in that moment was absolutely hysterical to me. So it was one of those I was like, man, I wish we'd had that. But it was a cool experience to say the least.
That's awesome.
So.
Andy, what about you?
The biggest takeaway, it's just nice to be hanging around with you guys, like that, we got everybody from everywhere,
Yeah.
Todd from Michigan and Kess from Indiana and, Delaney. It's so neat to have random people come together and just have a great time together and enjoy hunting and the adventure, the experience, and that means a lot. For me, it's just more than anything. It's got like I've said before, this is kind of like a family. Fall Obsession is like a family, like that, and it really does. When we all get together, it's awesome, and that's my biggest takeaway. I love doing this with people. You guys, it's one of my favorite hunts all the time. When I get to see Todd, and I get to see Sam, or I get to see Drew, or Kess, or Delaney, or Tyler, awesome. Sign me up. I want to be there, and not to, Tim too. I'm sorry, Tim. I love you too, Tim. But yeah, so it's Steven and Georgia, and that's probably who I met. Obviously we got to a couple people in Pennsylvania there, and Adam and. Down Florida. I've never met those guys, but I feel like we can just fit right in. I think we're all just the same people, but just where we live. And
Right.
And that's a big part of me. That's why I do it. I like the camaraderie, the experience, the adventure, the enjoyment of the company, and just meeting new people and having this amazing life that we live. And we got to give it to us, And by the way, we have to thank Sam because we wouldn't be here.
Right, exactly.
I'm a normal sized piece of the puzzle, guys. I've said it before on the podcast, man. It is not one person that makes all this happen. It's the group. Like
it's team effort.
We as Fall Obsession, Todd, myself, the staff coordinators, we can provide tools and opportunities, but at the end of the day, it's everybody else. It's the people that actually make this happen and that make up that family. Like y'all could show up to hunting camp and all go to your separate corners and do nothing, and nobody would have a good
easily.
time. But nobody's gonna do that, and the bond that y'all have formed yourselves is what makes this the family. So.
And proof is we had this amazing hunt. This is the proof. You know what I mean? We had this amazing hunt. If we would have came back with 0 birds in a 2-day hunt, it would have been disappointing. But what are our memories? We did have this amazing hunt. We were very successful. But what is our most memorable moment? What do we keep talking about? The people that we're with. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's awesome.
And that's kind of how I was raised too. We go on hunting trips. This is not killing; it's called hunting. You try and stuff like that. To get birds and to have a great hunt is the bonus. To be with your fellow people, and especially fellow peers around the country. I mean, this is awesome. I don't know anybody that else does this. Okay, I mean,
Right.
I have no, I don't. You know.
Yeah.
But I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, what Sam just mentioned is them providing the opportunity for all of us to get together. I mean, when I was coming up, my younger years of hunting and everything else, I didn't have the opportunity to meet people from all across the country or to hunt different species. I mean, we were stopped on our family farm where we hunted whitetail and turkey, and that's all there was to it.
Mm-hmm.
But now these opportunities have come into our lives as we get a little bit older and we kind of seek out what else is going on across the United States. I mean, there's all kinds of opportunities that we've been seeing. I mean, I never would have thought. Todd and I just scheduled our bear hunt for later in the year. Bear hunt.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
never would have thought in my life that I'd be going to hunt bear. But
good for you. Oh, it's great.
Here I am. But it's the opportunity that's created, or even just pitched, where the next a couple of people are like, "Yeah, let's just do it. Let's go right now. Let's set it up."
Well, I got to a point in my life. I think I mentioned this to you last week too, Andy. Was that with the elk hunt? I've had this spot on my wall for about 20 years that I'm waiting for, and I haven't even. It's not this. It's actually out there. But you know, I said to Heather, I go, that spot's been empty for 20 years. I want to put an elk up there, you know. And you know, I'm pushing 50 now. And I just turned 49. So I said to her, I don't know how many more years I have left to be able to go out and hike through the mountains after elk. You know what I mean? So I got to start taking advantage of some of these opportunities. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, me and Todd are, you know, a little bit more elder than the couple here. So I mean, we're aging. Oh, spring chickens like these two guys.
Oh, whatever, man.
I need to grow a handlebar and get rid of this. Then.
You know, remember ZZ Tops? Remember, you know how.
Yeah.
But no, you're completely right, Todd. I 100% agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Todd.
Okay, so my funny moment is.
Oh yeah.
My funny moment is, I don't know.
Appropriate ones.
Can't say that on camera.
Yeah, PG-13 here, man. Only.
We're talking the gift exchange.
No, we had actually a great time. So there was two different lodges. One was a smaller house or lodge and a bigger lodge, and I believe Todd said this before. Then we went over and introduced ourselves the first night and asked them questions about the hunt because we were curious and see how they did and like that. And there were 16 guys and they all living it out. And it was kind of like a frat party over there.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, anyways, I might indulge some frat party stuff. So yeah.
Well, that's a good explanation. Yeah, that's a good time. I have to ask Andy, did any birds try to take your head off this go round?
No,
just Tyler's.
Just
Tyler's.
You didn't mention that.
Jackie Channing now. He was,
what reminded me of that when Tyler was out chasing that bird and he fell to the ground is when I was out running after that other bird.
Oh my gosh.
So when he was telling that on the podcast, I was like, man, I didn't even get to see that. I can't believe I missed it.
I thought we had it on video, but we didn't. I think it was just kind of off, but it was kind of funny. The bird started chasing him.
That's got to be funny sitting back in the blind, as a guy sitting in the blind watching these two guys off in the field.
Trust me, it was a riot. I wish I had
we were on opposite sides too, so you had to decide which one you're going to watch.
I never seen one man run through a cornfield so fast, Kess.
Right.
I was a track star back in the day.
I can see that. And so is Tyler. He's a marathon runner.
He's a marathon runner.
Oh, yeah.
He had him lit.
He'll run for miles.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, it was extremely great. Like I said, once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean,
without a doubt.
Yeah. And I want to do it again because they taste so good.
Right.
Yeah. I've brought it up before. I'll say it again on this one too. That I think it was Drew a while back when we were talking on here about his axis deer hunt he had down here a while back. He talked about how what was a bucket list hunt has now just turned into something he's going to have to keep going back and doing again and again and again.
Yeah.
And it's rolling back to the point of, there's all these opportunities for us to be able to go and do all these things, opportunities that people, like you said, Kess, that might not think you ever get to go do something like that, you know. Yeah, we all look at it from this seat as bucket list, and then when you actually go do it, you're like, I'm coming back. I'm going to do it again.
Well, see, and that's what's crazy. It doesn't even have to be a bucket list hunt.
Yeah.
Like, Andy brought up the idea that this was his bucket list hunt. When this idea was first pitched to me, I was like, that's stupid. I don't want to go shoot something down in Texas. Like, I've never even heard of a sandhill crane. What is, like, and I started researching it more, and I was like, okay, it's supposed to taste like steak. I'm in, but I still want to learn more. And then, so it went from something that was a stupid idea to me to now it's something that I'm going to end up doing every year, period.
Yeah.
And in that our snow goose hunt last year, that was an Andy idea too, that we came home and we tried to put it together. Remember? We came home from Tim's and then
to go through Andy from now on.
And then we booked it for February, but then we ended up having to cancel because the weather was so cold and that sort of thing.
We had to cancel twice, actually. Yeah,
we had to rebook it twice and then got to go. But when Andy first brought it up, I thought, the hunting goose. I know I've had goose before. It's not the best tasting, but I've never really thought about hunting geese before. But as I started thinking about more and more, the one thing that resonated with me was, you haven't done it, why not try it? Right. You know what I mean? Just try it. Just have fun with it. And I got hooked last year with that snow goose hunt just because of the things that we had talked about, the adrenaline that you feel over and over and over again, and just how incredible it is just to watch the birds as they're coming in, they're locked in and committed, So same thing with the crane. Heather's all for trying to get down there with us next year and trying to save her personal days. If we're hoping that it's during Christmas break, so we don't have to use personal days. But
there you go.
Because I keep telling her it's just like snow geese, except they're bigger and slower. So
well, that'd be cool. And then to the snow goose point too. I mean, at the time we're recording this podcast, y'all are fixing to hit that one again. So
yep. John Monty, can't wait. I'm already packed up. I'm no serious. I haven't packed up last week.
Andy stays ready.
Yeah.
Always. Drives the wife nuts.
I'm sure.
Where are you going? Nowhere right now, but you never know.
Dude, I will be.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Todd, you got anything else about this hunt in particular you want to share?
It was, like I said, we've talked about trying to make this an annual thing, and I think it's something we can certainly are planning on doing. So it amazes me. It just amazes me when we all get together, just because the bond that we have with each other. And like I said, Kess, this is the first time we met Kess, and like Kess said, I think I was there. I think you were pulling up when Tyler. Well, Andy, you were there too. You and Tyler picked me up from the airport. Yep. So we pulled up as you were pulling up, and it was like instantly, So we had him hooked, and now we can scar him for life. So, but yeah, it just amazes me the camaraderie that we build with each other. And I feel bad because the only thing I feel bad about is when we offer these hunts that we can't take everybody from Fall Obsession with us. You know what I mean? I wish we could offer a hunt, say everybody's invited, just show up and you'll have a good time. You know what I mean? And that's.
Got to have a little more strategy in it, but
yeah.
I would like at one time at least like 3/4, like 80% of Fall Obsession show up to one hunt.
Or everybody show up to Sam's for a summer picnic.
Yeah.
Every all staffers are invited to Sam's next.
It'll be 120 degrees outside, but by golly,
we're not doing it in Texas.
We're not doing it in Texas. Hey man, Todd shot a pig when it was 100 degrees outside. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe it. I left the week before, and I'm like, you're nuts coming down here.
No, we'll just all we need to do is have Andy come up with the idea, and then apparently that's good enough for
No.
We'll put it in place.
The secret is that I'll come up with the idea, stick it into Todd's head, and then
Sam will just have to talk to Brooke. Oh, by the way, we got a bunch of people coming over tomorrow. So.
Oh yeah, that will go like a fart in church.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little more heads up than that probably. Hey, so you remember Todd? Yeah, well, Todd and 30 other people are coming over this time.
With their families.
With their families, yeah. Well,
no, so I talked to Drew today. So I have his squawk box, his snow goose hunt, his snow goose box for the call.
yeah.
And I'm ordering new speakers this year for North Dakota, and so I ordered 200 more decoys and a clone, and I'm getting my foot too far in this door, I think. But
as he looks over his shoulder, make sure nobody's gonna whack me over the head when I say this.
no, I'm not making some people happy in my family.
Hey, that's all of us, man.
I was talking to Drew today, and I was like, "Why are you telling me 3 days before her hunt, Todd? Good news. He said 3 days before her hunt. Why are you telling me that we need to fix the squawk box or the box?" And I go, "No, Drew. We just show up and roll in the blind. I'm thinking about Dakota." He goes, "Oh, he was gonna be mad at me." So I'm gonna order a couple new speakers and some jacks I had asked him for. So yeah.
Awesome.
Sidetrack. Sorry.
No,
that's
good,
right.
man.
No, that's right.
Well, guys, I'll go ahead and wrap up the podcast. I'm sure we'll chat for a minute after we hang it up, but I appreciate you guys joining us again for another episode, Kess, for your first one with us. I'm sure there'll be many more, and I look forward to the feedback from the snow goose hunt, the next big event. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
But
the rookie came through.
Yeah.
Thanks, boss man.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank y'all for listening. Fall Obsession Podcast. If you haven't already, hit that follow and subscribe button, whatever platform you're listening on. We're on all major platforms, Carbon TV, Waypoint TV, our YouTube channel, our website. The website's where you can go to find all of our content. There's a bunch of different doorways there that'll take you into many awesome places as far as what we do as a hunting and outdoor media production company. Hit up some of our apparel and some of our hats. I know Kess and Andy and these guys are rocking some of our apparel on there, so be sure you check it out. We are on all major social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Go Wild. Fall Obsession Media is the handle for TikTok. Go follow us on there as well. And Ridge Rock Hunt Company is the podcast partner. Derek and Lacey over there in Mississippi. They book hunts with vetted outfitters across the country. So if you are looking to book with an outfitter for that dream hunt you've been saving up for or a new opportunity you're interested in, give Derek a call. He'll work with you on licensing, timeline, price, location, all that kind of stuff. He's super easy to talk to and work with. So Ridge Rock Hunt Company, go check him out. Thank you again, gentlemen. We'll do it again soon.
Absolutely. Stay obsessed.
Stay obsessed. All right, guys. Thank you all for listening. We're back again next Monday, as always, with another episode, and we'll catch you then.